America's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, talking waterproofing, air conditionings, heatings, and now we're going into emergency services with Joel Moss.
Yes,
Joel Moss has frequented actually the Jellyman Hour. I don't know if you know this, Randall.
No.
He has been on the Jellyman Hour before.
No.
And
Jellyman.
Now he's he's going with the big boys now.
He's going with big boys. He's going to tell the homeowners how not to call them. Is that crazy? Well, you're going to have plenty of business anyway. Once everyone knows you in this valley, they're calling you anyway. So, Paul Davis is a franchise, right?
That is correct, Mr. Randy.
And you own that.
My wife and I are co-owners of the local franchise of Paul Davis Emergency Services.
What area do you cover?
Right now, we're covering from Chatsworth to Lancaster.
Wow. And so anyone that has a fire, a flood, smoke, what else?
Yeah, we perform a lot of services, but primarily we're doing flood restoration, microbial remediation, and fire cleanups. Lot involved in fire cleanup, Randy.
Okay, so tell me, because we want the people out there to know what they can do so they don't really need to see you. Not that you want that, but what is a common? It's not going to happen, I know. What is the three biggest things that people don't do that they could do that would stop from having an emergency situation? How's that?
Well, I would say checking your supply lines in your home on a regular basis, the supply lines to the dishwasher, the clothes washing machines, and also the toilets and underneath the sinks. In this last couple of weeks, we've probably responded to 6 or 7 broken toilet lines.
Wow. Because
the base of the supply line cracks from being over-tightened to the toilet, or the base of that ball cock breaks off inside the tank, and then it just runs.
Wow. That's not a good thing.
No, especially for somebody who leaves the house at 7 a.m., comes home at 7 p.m., and they come home to Lake whatever their address is.
Okay. So is it something visual they can see necessarily or not? Or is it just a good idea to call a plumber out or to change the line? Or
I would say it's probably best to service those lines every 5 years, just change them out. Because they are plastic, you also want to get your pressure regulator checked at your home on a regular basis. They tend to fail every 2 to 5 years. You want to keep the pressure down in the house because that's another way that they stress these supply lines out.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, the pressure regulator regulates how much pressure's on the water system within the house that's being held back by the valves.
Correct. Usually street pressure is about 120 or plus. The house pressure should be somewhere between 60 and 80.
Yes. Very good point. So that would be the first thing then, is to check your regulator. And the second thing, just look around. You could call me for a kitchen or a bathroom model. I'll change all your angle stops and everything will be new from there on out. But if you don't want to spend $30,000-$40,000 today, get your plumber out there, right? Is that a good thing? Or just go looking around behind the toilet and see if there's any bulges?
Well, you can look for bulges in the supply line to the clothes washer. If it's bulging where the fitting meets there, that's time to replace that line. A lot of the new lines are
braided,
steel braided, so you're not really going to see it. But if it is swelling up where the fitting attaches, and most of these new lines where they attach to the toilet, they have a plastic fitting. Whereas at the supply where they attach at the angle stop, that's a metal fitting. It's usually the plastic fitting that fatigues and breaks right at the base.
Really?
So you know, and it's a little inconvenient. Get down on your knees, crawl behind there, get a little flashlight, and check for any fractures or telltale signs that fitting might be fatigued. So it's just better to just replace it every 5 years.
Okay. So we're talking from the angle stop up to the toilet tank. There's a hose. And if it's a good one, it'll be braided in like a stainless steel. But you should still check up underneath the tank because that's plastic, a white plastic.
Yeah, your chain's only as strong as your weakest link.
That's
and that
right.
Plastic fitting is the weak link. But they make it that way because you've got plastic on plastic.
Right,
it would be a problem putting metal on that plastic fitting that comes out of the tank.
because then that would break.
Yeah, it's one thing
Vicious
or
circle,
another.
yeah. And it's not planned obsolescence because can't be that much
No,
money.
we would never do that.
No. All right, well, so that's one. That's a good point. I want to go home right now and check because I had a flood. It's miserable. I'll be back, Kyle. Oh, all right, I'm back. Joel, so what's the next common thing that we can alert the homeowners to?
Well, it would probably go back to the toilet. If
Again with the toilet?
Again with the toilet. I mean,
Okay.
these toilets, they're crazy. If you're jiggling the handle,
Yeah?
that's an indicator there's something wrong. And if that toilet runs and runs and runs, not only are you paying for extra water, but what ends up happening at some point is that it overruns and it comes over the back of the tank and then
Ooh.
again floods the house.
And it always happens when you've gone on a long weekend away, right?
We just did one in Fraser Park where the homeowner uses the place as a vacation home and they get up there maybe every 4 to 6 months. And they went to visit the house and the toilet had been running for probably 4 to 6 months.
That's weird. Well, you think maybe someone like that might think to shut the water off at the main?
Many people who have vacation homes, that is part of their shutdown process, and that is
Okay.
a great idea.
Okay. All right, so are we out of the toilets? Now, I've seen it happen a few times as a refrigerator, that connection there. They move it to clean, the cleaning lady bumps the little plastic hose.
Right, typically the water line for the ice maker and the cold water in the fridge is either the PEX, which is a pretty good product, or the older ones have the copper tubing, which kinks real easily, and that's I like to change those things out. What they have now, though, is they've got a steel braided line, which I like a lot,
Yeah.
which is very forgiving, pulling the refrigerator in and out to clean, and it also has an internal shutoff if it develops a leak.
Okay, well, on that note, I'd just like to say that Pacific Sales, who is one of our anchor sponsors on this program, when they come out and put the refrigerators in, that's the kind of hose they use.
Yeah.
That steel braided, that's a nice hose.
It's a great setup.
Thanks, Joel. We'll be back.